Welcome to the Queer Confidence Podcast, the podcast to help you become your most confident queer self. I'm your host, he, she, they, Coach Alex Ray, and I haven't always been this confident. In fact, I used to be super insecure. And through this show, I want to share with you what's worked for me, my clients, and my guests so that you can become more confident. Hello, unicorns. How are you doing today? We're going to talk about how to make friends today. And this is coming because I recently asked y'all on Instagram, on my stories, what topics you would like me to do. What do you want me to cover? What questions do you have? So if you missed out on that story, it's okay. There's still time to ask. All you need to do is just send me a DM on Instagram, and that's how I will then put it into the queue of podcast topics. So, and the person who asked this question asked like how to make friends, especially when you are older. So here's the thing. For the most part, I think making friends at any age is the same. You're going to see that with what I teach you today. And the first thing is because it's all based on just being yourself. We'll talk about why in a moment, but I also want to recommend that if you haven't yet, go back and listen to episode 30, How to Be Yourself. That will give you so much additional information for how to be yourself and tools, tricks, tips, etc. And how to really get out of your own head, because we all know how to be ourselves. We just do it naturally without thinking about it. But it's the thinking about it that keeps us from acting like ourselves. Am I right? Or am I right? So the reason I say that being yourself is the most important thing to know when making friends is because you could have people around you, and really all of us do. We have people in our orbit some way or another, whether those are people you know from work, you know from the coffee shop that you go to, people you know from, I don't know, Trader Joe's, like they know me there. Whether it's family, whether it's people online that you know people. There are people around you. You are not living in isolation. I know that because you are listening to this podcast right now. So there are other humans around you. And there are a lot of humans around you that, you know, you could give a shit about, like becoming their friend. Not that you don't care what happens to them, but you know, you don't care about being their friend, right? Nor really should you, because friendship is really about life paths aligning, isn't it? Each of us has our own life journey that we are constantly discovering and creating and setting forth on. And we're going about life on this journey. And many times the roads that we use overlap with others. Just like if you were going to, let's talk about moving, because that's so on my mind right now. If you are moving like I am from Maryland to San Diego, those are two opposite coasts. So going from one end of the country to the other, Maryland to California, there are a lot of ways to go. And I have a path mapped out, which might end up changing as we go. You know, we might encounter roadwork, who knows? And then we'll adjust when we get there. Life is very much like that. And I don't really care then about being like very informed and knowing what's happening on a totally different highway, or being really involved with another driver who is on that totally different highway. Like, I want to be paying attention to the drivers that are around me in the lanes next to me, right? The other drivers that are going the same direction as me. I want to know how we can keep driving together in a safe, collaborative way instead of crashing into one another, right? The same is true of your life. Your life is like a great journey from one coast to the other. You have many different highways that you can get there on, and you get to choose your route based on anything you fucking want. It could be preference. It could be just for the hell of it. It could be because you're experimenting and trying something out. It could be really anything. It doesn't matter. And along the way, you're going to encounter other people. Now, sometimes we try to make friends that are on maybe the same road, but they're like so far ahead of us or so far behind us that it's not really that useful to us. And it's not really that useful to them either. Instead, I highly recommend look at the other metaphorical drivers that are around you on the road and make friends with them. You also similarly don't need to be friends with the drivers on a completely different highway that you're nowhere near, right? Even if you're going the same direction, maybe they're just so taking such a different path than you. It doesn't matter. They're not really friendship material. So being yourself, I bring up because really, really letting your, being present with who you are and where you are, I think is essential to creating true, lasting, deep friendships. When we are trying to make friends with the people that really are on those other paths, not only is it much more difficult, but you don't have the commonalities to have conversation about. I've tried to make friends with people before that I thought oh my God, this is going to be so great, right? We've all done this where you think, oh, they're the perfect friend. And then you realize it's just not working out. And that's not a bad thing. It doesn't mean something's wrong with them. It doesn't mean something's wrong with you. It just means that you're not really necessarily aligned right now to be in that kind of relationship with that person. Friendship is a type of relationship, right? We are all in relationship with every other human on the planet. We are distantly in relationship with most people. But everything that we do affects the collective somehow, right? I choose to throw trash out my window. It can go and create an accident later when a bird is on the highway eating the trash and a car crashes and because it's trying to avoid the bird, and now 2 other people are in the hospital because I threw trash out the window, right? So I don't even know them, but I am in relationship to them, even though I don't even know their names, don't even know what happened. And then we have on the opposite spectrum, our really close relationships, right? Like our family, our romantic relationships, our deep, intimate friendships. And one of the things that I want to offer here is that quality over quantity is something to look out for. Know what you're looking for in a friendship. There are many different types of friendships, many different ways that friendships can serve you. For the most part, though, when I'm talking about friendship, I'm talking about those people that are really, really close, so I can be open and vulnerable and deep with. And I only really have a few of those, as in 3 off the top of my head, maybe 4, that are really, really close friends that I can be very intimate like that with. And then I have a slightly outer circle that has probably 10 or so people in it. And then I have a very wide circle of, all the friends that are more like acquaintance level. I'm not going to call them up when something horrible is going on in my life and be like, hey, can you talk me through this? They're not there for that. And so I think it's important too, when you're thinking about making friends, right, to go back a moment, just to identify what kinds of friendships are you looking for. Is your inner circle really completely full, or is that needing to be filled? Is the circle outside of that of moderately intimate friends? How's that doing? Are you looking for friends there? Maybe you have your couple core friendships, 3 or 4 of them or so, but that's it. And you're wanting some more casual friendships. Or maybe it's the wide net and you're just wanting to be able to have friends that are, I don't know, party friends, drinking friends, whatever friends. Know what the purpose is as you're looking. All right. Then the second part, well, this is not a second part. I don't even know. Forget it. I didn't even say that. Forget the second part. being yourself is the most important thing in order to create friendships, because instead of trying to contort yourself to create friendships for just to fill something, to fill a gap because you think you need it, you'll end up just kind of settling for whoever comes along. Oh, great. And now that person that might really actually be a person that belongs on a different highway is now someone that you're obsessing over trying to connect with because they are physically in your vicinity, but intellectually, mentally, spiritually, they are so far different, and you really have nothing in common. You will automatically attract friends when you're just being yourself. I have this thing that some of my friends, like, they like, we don't know how you do it. This doesn't even make, like, what the fuck are you doing with your life? I am just magnetic. When I go out, like, I just meet people, and people start conversation with me all the time. I've talked about that a little bit here, that I have a little bit of social anxiety starting conversation. And so I don't generally like to start the conversation, but once it's going, I could talk to someone for 3 hours because I'm genuinely curious. I genuinely want to know. So that's one thing to keep in mind as you're meeting people and trying to create friendships. Just genuinely be curious. Set the intention of knowing, hey, I really have this gap in my life that feels like there's a void that needs to be filled. And I really want that, that friend that's like the close, the medium, or the distant friend that I'm trying to fill. And when you're with people, be genuinely curious with them and be aware of, I wonder if this is the person, without being attached to it. Curiosity just says, I wonder. I have no idea. I wonder if. Versus attached, like, frantic searching looks like, I can't be okay until this role is filled in my life. I'm not going to feel complete. I'm not going to be happy. I'm not going to rest until I accomplish this thing of having a friend in the way that I want one. It doesn't make it happen any faster, my friend. You're just making yourself a lot more uncomfortable in the process. So you might as well just choose to let the timing come as the universe would have it, and then choose to just be open to it happening in its timing. So back to magnetism and how I genuinely just attract people everywhere I go. Wearing clothes that attract your people is key. Y'all know how I dress because you see me on Instagram. I want you to know that is not for a performance for you all on Instagram. I genuinely love dressing up and wearing colorful clothes and patterns and designs. I love wearing, I have a lot of clothes that I've gotten, well, not a lot, a good handful of clothes that I've gotten in the women's section at Goodwill. Like, I love thrifting and going and getting the women's clothing. And then I have like fancy couture that is androgynous and designed for like more like male bodies, but with a very feminine design to it. And I love my style. My style is a way of attracting people, right? It's going to turn off people who I don't really care about being friends with. And it's going to turn on people that find people like me interesting. And what are people like me? Well, I'm very artistic. I'm very creative. I'm very spiritual. I'm very into my masculine and feminine energies and letting the two of them swirl around together. I'm confident. I love to just put my shit out there, right? I have a hoodie that says confident queer across it. Like, not too many people walk around with that, right? That's already making a big old statement. Merch coming soon for you all. I'm working on it. Thank you for your patience. Anyway, I just want you to know that how you dress really is sending a message to other people. I used to really, really love the goth kids when I was in school. I just thought they were so interesting and so bold, and I wanted to have like baggy jeans and chains and wear a lot of black, but my parents wouldn't let me. Oh, poor Alex couldn't have his goth pants. Which is so funny because it's like so different than what I wear now, but also so the same, right? It's expressive. It says something. I also have a friend that frequently when he goes to gay bars, or semi-frequently, I don't know, every now and then at least, he goes to gay bars and people ask him if he's straight because of the way he dresses. They just assume that he's straight. So just think about putting some conscious effort into how you dress. And by conscious effort, I really don't think you need to be putting a lot of like overthinking into it. That is not conscious effort. That's overthinking. There's a difference. But conscious effort as in what really speaks to you. And you probably, if you're listening to this podcast, I know for a fact, then you've had self-esteem and confidence issues. That's why you're here. I love you. You are my people. This is, we used to hate ourselves, or maybe some of you still do hate yourself. And it's going to be a little hard for you at first to even know what the fuck your style is. What does that even look like? It is naturally going to flow out of you, just like mine does flow so naturally from me now, because I just explored. I explored for a while. I just tried on different things. And then you'll know whether you feel at home and are maybe, because look, as you start dressing in ways that really feel more aligned to you, and you're going to feel more of an emotional attachment to it. And so sometimes you're going to go out and people might say a comment about how you're dressed, and just know ahead of time that you might have a few responses. One that I had a client bring up recently was someone was like, telling her like, oh, I don't like that color lipstick that you wore. It's weird. And, she had this response. Actually, technically, he didn't say that, but that's what she thought, right? And this is why when I was coaching her, I said, wait a minute, hold on. Who made up the story then that he doesn't like it? He just said, oh. And you took it as like all these negative things. Are you sure you even like it? And what she realized was she wasn't even a fan of it. And that she was feeling uncomfortable with it because she was trying to put on like a show because she thought she should do it. She didn't even like the color lipstick. And so when someone else didn't like it, it kind of brought that out in her. Versus when I go out dressed wild as fuck and someone maybe makes a negative comment, like, why is he wearing heels? I'm like, oh, because I love it. Because I'm having so much fun over here. So differentiate for yourself in your head what the two things are happening. And this is why coaching is so much more helpful than just trying to do this on your own, because often it's really hard to tell what's going on. Did you genuinely make up the story that they don't like it? Okay, well, if you made up the story, then probably you don't like it and you're projecting it onto other people. Or did someone actually genuinely not like it and then you just felt the discomfort of not being liked? However, it's still, you are dressed in an authentic way that you love. Those are the delineations to make, right? Next, saying things that attract your people. Okay, so I have another client that said that she loves to just walk into a room at a party and yell, "Fuck capitalism." Now, my personal views on capitalism for a moment, y'all. I like it for the most part. I think it's wonderful. I love money. I love making money. I love using money. I love it. I also know that there are some downsides, and there are downsides to every single system out there. My preferred method of any of the types that we could create, so far, capitalism is my personal favorite. However, I don't care if it's her favorite or not. She loves to go into a party and like yell that out. Why? Because it turns heads. And then what happens? Well, her people are then automatically know that she's available to talk with them and they have the same opinions. So think of what your version of that is. Maybe it's not literally going into a party and yelling, "Fuck capitalism." Maybe it's wearing a shirt with a certain phrase on it. Maybe it's saying what you actually mean in a conversation with the stranger across from you at the bar. Maybe it's saying what you really mean on your dating profile or your social media or whatever, or just in a conversation with the barista that's making your coffee. Saying what you actually mean and actually think, sharing your real fucking opinion instead of what you think people will enjoy more, will also signal. You're like a lighthouse. You're letting people know, hey there, this is what I stand for. Come to my shores. Here I am, right? You are opening yourself up as a safe place for your people who are aligned with you to show up and have a conversation with you and get to know you. You don't need to be putting out then so much effort here into finding friends as you do into now just attracting friends. And attracting people is literally just by being yourself through and through, wearing what you want to wear, saying what you want to say, thinking about the things that are authentically like true to you, your worldview, expressing that, letting other people know through any means that you have. The more that you allow yourself to be seen, the more other people will automatically then be attracted to you. Another metaphor for this is think about a concert. The stage with the loudest music, if it's like EDM, like I love, great. Now everyone that doesn't like EDM is going to be super turned off. They're going to have even more negative opinions of that stage over there that has the sucky ass EDM that I can't stand. And the people that love EDM are going to be able to hear it from miles away, and they're going to come flocking. They're going to want to go to that stage. Think about letting your life be very similar, where you are allowing yourself to be known. The last suggestion I have for you on making friends is go where your people go. Common interests are really big for building friendships. So what do you genuinely enjoy? You don't need to be thinking anymore about other people here. Okay? That's the point of this episode. Be thinking about what you genuinely enjoy. What are the activities that you delight in? Go do more of those things. Maybe even use apps like Meetup or Facebook groups to find others who like those things too. And then you can more easily create friendships with people with common interests. Instead of standing back and waiting to go do that thing until you can find people, the internet is filled with groups. Again, Facebook and Meetup. Those great spots to go meet people with common interests. Go do the activity and meet people through there. Okay, so just to recap, ultimately it's being yourself, which means wearing, saying, and doing things that you genuinely enjoy, that are truthful to you, and you will automatically end up in the presence of others with those same interests or beliefs or vibes, and those are the people you want to be around. You will then be able to much more easily create a friendship with them because it's very natural. You're on the same page. You're going down the same highway. You're around each other, right? They are literally that car next to you on the highway headed to California. All right, my friends, have a phenomenal week, and I'll catch you on the next episode. Bye. If you enjoyed this episode, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with a friend so they too can become more confident. You can also help more people find the show by leaving a 5-star review wherever you listen. And if you want to become a more confident queer with support from yours truly, head to coachalexray.com or use the link down in the show notes. I'm looking forward to working with you.